This is my very first time making a memory wire bracelet. Have you made any memory wire jewelry making projects before? Create with me as I share 5 tips that I learned from making my first memory wire bracelet. There's the first loop I bent on one end so the beads don't fall off. It's not a perfected loop because it was my first time doing it. It's a little wobbly. At the end of this video, I'll demonstrate making the loop again at the other end of the bracelet and explain how it's done. Whoa, this memory wire is hard to get a grip on as I slide the beads onto it. This brings me to tip number 1. Start working with a small project to get used to working with memory wire. I decide to snip the wire so it wraps around my wrist 4 times. 2 or 3 times around would be even more manageable. But, I like to be a little extra and challenge myself, so I'm going for 4. Now time to string more beads onto the memory wire. They do like to slide around on the wire. So I came up with insider tip number 2, is that I found it handy to use a small clamp once the beads were strung onto the memory wire so that they stayed in place. I wanted to see what they looked like when they stayed down at the end of the wire, and the clamp helped me achieve that goal. Now I can really get a visual of what the finished jewelry making project will look like. I didn't plan out my beading pattern ahead of time, and I didn't go for a strict repetitive pattern, although I did repeat parts of the order of the beads from time to time. This included some large accent beads as focal points. This is tip number 3 that I learned while making my first memory wire bracelet. It's that I didn't want all of those large beads on one side of the bracelet. So I looked at where the other larger beads were placed, and I varied which side of the bracelet each large bead was on so it would look nice on my wrist. Now it's time for tip number 4 already. This is a fun tip. It's to remember that this is your project and you can create it any way that you want. I had these light aqua leaves that were already attached to a chain when I bought them. I really wanted to use them. So I experimented with threading every 3rd link of that chain through the memory wire. The result was too bunched together, although I might like that effect on another project. But I did take it off this project and tried putting a couple seed beads as spacers in between threading the links onto the project. I'm so happy that I didn't feel like I had to string all regular beads onto this bracelet just because it was my first time using memory wire. I gave myself that creative freedom to experiment and to be curious about how to do different things. And I encourage you to take risks and to try new things in your jewelry making and your other artwork as well. These dangling beads are such a fun addition to this beautiful bracelet, and I love the look of having them just on one side for variety. Yay, success! My 5th tip is to remember to try on the bracelet from time to time while creating this. I did this a lot. And if you don't like something about how it looks, because you want to see what it looks like in action on your wrist, it's easy to take off and change. Now there's my last bead, and let's learn how to make that loop in the wire at the end of the project and see if I can do it more neatly than my first go at it at the beginning. Before doing that, I need to snip part of the wire off because it's a tiny bit long. So there's only about 1 inch of memory wire after the last bead. With memory wire, you don't need a crimp bead, and the loop serves as a knot at the end of the bracelet. No clasp is needed either. I do have other jewelry making tutorials about how to use crimp beads and crimp tubes, as well as how to attach a clasp onto different jewelry stringing wire also. So for this project, take a pair of round nose or flat nose pliers and bend the wire at a 90-degree angle. It's not easy to do because the memory wire is strong. Once that's done, bend the wire backwards so that it forms a hook. Then keep working that hook into a full loop that's a full circle. Center it as much as you can on the bracelet. That's it. The memory wire bracelet's beads will stay put and won't fall off the wire. It could even look nice to attach a charm or something to dangle off from the end of those little loops. But for my first memory wire bracelet venture, I'm done. I'm Kathleen Arola-Johnson at Creative Solace Studios. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please click the subscribe button for more mixed media art and jewelry making. You can also find me on Skillshare. I've enjoyed sharing 5 tips with you about things that I learned while creating my first memory wire bracelet. Let me know in the comments if you have any memory wire creating tips as well. I'd love to hear them. Happy creating!